Welcome back to Medieval Total War and our campaign on late period glorious achievements with the Crown of Aragon. We're doing fairly well here. We're tied for first place, and in about 16 years we're going to have another point check in, the second of only 5. So we need to make sure that we maintain this position. Currently we're tied with the Russians, who often are a problem in high and late. And so far, if this continues, we're going to be tied the whole game. However, there's a possibility that they may build a lot of buildings in Moscow, and they may get 4 points for this. There's a possibility that they may build a fortress in Moscow or Muscovy, and that'll get them another 5 points for the Kremlin. They may conquer a bunch. So there is, in every one province they conquer, they get 2 points, whereas for us, we have to conquer 2 provinces to get 1. So there is that we need to keep in the back of our mind. Our campaign is going well. Locally, we're doing fairly well. I feel quite strong in the position we're in now. But we can't lose sight of that larger goal, or we're going to get to 1453 and find out that we've lost. So today, what we want to do is sort of shore up what we have got. We've got a decent income. We're making almost 1,200. But we can improve that a little bit by grabbing Portugal. Now, Portugal is a risky province in the sense that it is typically fairly rebellious. As you can see, there's rebels here now. And we could approach this in a couple of different ways. We could try to see bribery, although this looks like a large enough and rich enough army that I think that might not be possible at our current funds. So we might just try to hit them with a lot of troops instead, get them to retreat to the castle, and then bribe the remnant. That might be a better option. Or even wait a few years. We could try a good old-fashioned, attack, and maybe that would work. If we wait around, though, we may see another faction move in here, because the AI is not shy about naval invasions, particularly the Italians. And they've got ships. I think they may have enough ships. Well, they don't have anything at the Gulf of Cadiz, so unless they've got a boat in the Atlantic Ocean, they might not be able to land troops here in Portugal just yet. But that is one option. On the other hand, the Italians, I think, are not doing super well. They've got Corsica, but it's not really theirs. In fact, they're besieging a tiny rebel army here with their king. This is never a good sign. There's only 20 men with him. And we could probably see, another rebellion forming, actually, before this siege gets resolved. So I want to keep my eye on that. This might be an easier province to grab. It's got some salt deposits, and we may want to move on it at some point. Since the Italians are looking fairly weak, I don't think they'd be able to push back too hard against us. Over in the east, we're seeing that Constantinople is under siege by the Turks. They're not too much of a threat to us, and we're past the stage of the Mongol invasions here. So we don't have to worry about anything too big happening off in the east to really upset things. And that just means that eastern factions are going to tend to get stronger. Actually, what I would like to see at this point is the Turks get strong enough to challenge the Russians. The Mongols, I think, are around. I think we've got the Golden Horde in here. Yeah, I can see them. And they're not at war with anybody, interestingly. So it could be that the Horde gives the Russians a run for their money, but in my experience in late, the Horde is kind of weakening. So we may have to count on some other factions. So we'll keep our princess here to see how this Constantinople situation is resolved, and hope that we get some bigger factions in the east. So in terms of spending money, we're building for, I think, chivalric men-at-arms in Sicily. But this is a pretty safe province for us. And I think what I want to do is go for caravels. We've got, let's see, 5 years. We could build a caravel here and start getting our trade over into the Adriatic. Maybe even a ship down to Malta and the Gulf of Gabes. One of the things that I've been doing over the past few days is just reading a little bit, poking around into history of the Aragonese. Only incidentally, really, I was looking at the sort of the Fourth Crusade, and I found that the Aragonese actually owned some territory in Greece as part of the aftermath of that. At some point, they were, or mercenaries associated with them, took over some land around Athens, I think it was. And this is the Catalan company was responsible for some of that. There was a Navarrese company that was over here too. causing all kinds of trouble for the locals, setting up little independent lordships for themselves. But there were these lordships that the Franks or the French had set up in the aftermath of the Fourth Crusade, in Greece and the Peloponnese especially, and some of those ended up reverting by title to the rulers of Aragon in the 14th century. So really, I mean, I could plausibly expand over to Greece as Aragon and not worry about it being like ahistorical. They actually owned quite a lot. It's very interesting, something that really flew under my radar. So we're going to build some ships, and we're going to get our naval presence out into the central, maybe even a little bit of the eastern Mediterranean. That's going to help with money, and that'll help fund, obviously, our military. I think it's also going to be a good idea to get some ships up here just to make it a little harder for the English or whoever to attack us. So I may as well take a few years off building units in Castile and get a ship going there. We're building a crusade in Leon, and we're going to see what we can do with this crusade. So this may be a way that I can grab Portugal. It may be a way I push against the Aragonese, but let's call that good for right now. Okay, French take Aquitaine. So there goes my northern border. But English take Provence. Okay, it looks like we beat... I'm assuming that's an Almohad fleet. The Garments of Christ. So Zeal in Franconia. Okay. So yeah, we're allied with the English and neutral to the French. So I guess we do have to give a bit more thought to our northern border if this war continues to go badly for the English. Alright, we've got some spearmen here just to serve as garrison. Prince Pedro is watching the northern border, and he's got some troops. We've got some arquebus units. We've got, you know, a decent mix, I guess. But some of them have taken some damage, so maybe I can retrain. Or it might not be worth it. Although this is a Knight of Santiago, I can't retrain him anyway. Okay, well let's... we can get chivalric knights here. And we've got the iron to make them pretty effective. Let's train a unit. And let's just kind of keep doing a few Jeannettes in Navarre. I don't think the French are going to swipe over to Navarre just yet. Let's check their diplomacy, though. Okay, they're only at war with the English. They don't have anything else going on. Nobody's excommunicated in that war. But that might change in a few years. Okay, there's a border fort in Corsica. Otherwise, I would send my spy up to cause some more trouble. And I've been thinking about, you know, spies and agents. In the back of my mind, there's always this idea that, well, I can just... you know, send agents to cause trouble for the Russians if I have to, if they start beating me at points. But really, agents do take a bit of investment. It's sort of calculating it out. It feels like it's about a generation. It's about 20 years before you can get a really pretty reliable stable of like 3-star assassins. So, you know, that's a bit tricky. Okay, let's move these guys out of here. I don't need anyone in Valencia, really, as long as I've got a plausible naval defense off the coast. So Alfonso V, wow. He is at max dread. You have the ear of many of the foreign powers in the world and the attention of all of them. Leaders who oppose you risk much indeed. Okay, maybe that's not max. This is 9 dread. Still pretty good. Great warrior, hedonist, magnificent builder. He'll be around for a little bit. And Prince Ferdinand, the heir, is currently unmarried, so we should actually be giving some thought to that. He was the guy I've been trying to kill, that's right. Okay. Well, the crusade may not be able to be sent against Portugal, right? There is a chance that that crusade... this is not a valid crusade target because it's almost entirely Catholic. But I'm not sure exactly what allows a crusade to happen against certain rebel provinces. It's not just like a flat you can or you can't. Some rebel you can, some rebel provinces you can't. So maybe it's the Catholicism, maybe it's the units or the identities of the generals. See, we also need a port in Cordoba, so I've got to get on that. All right, yeah, we can't make a shipbuilder yet without a port. Okay, so I guess we'll queue up a church afterwards. This is going to be mostly an economic province for ports, and I guess some handgunners too, if we want to play around with that unit type. Okay, let's send you guys down. It's basically a big mercenary army, and I think I should honestly sort out what I've got a little bit. Like, Enrique is the guy that I would love to be leader, although Pedro would be good too. Great warrior, irritable. You know, having somewhat good dread is good. But this guy is kind of a loser. So if we get him killed, and then we can get his little brother married, that would be preferable. All right, yeah, let's get some feudal sergeants. We can always send some mercenaries with him too. Once we get these troops down, we'll send basically a big mercenary army. Okay, that's all reasonable. Sardinia doesn't have very much typically. I guess we could send these. No, he's leading. So let's go ahead and give him the title there. Looks like the English are trying to get back Aquitaine. Got an assassin in Leon. Alright, that may have been the Lord. Yeah, Don Enrique. And Valencia. Oh no. Alright, we got spies in both of these provinces too. Yep, Prince Ferdinand. We gotta get rid of this guy. Okay. I mean, we don't have very good spies. And that is the thing. You need to really devote some effort to it. We could get rank 1 assassins at the alehouse in Sicily. You know, but maybe Cordoba is going to be the place. And again, there's not even a castle here yet. Okay, just checking diplomacy to make sure that that was actually an Aragonese fleet. I can get a ship here in the Atlantic if I want one. Okay, we're gonna get a boat up here next turn. I can bring that down, and I can bring this ship over. So I'll wait a little bit to do that because there's no need to up the costs, and we may be attacked again anyway. This is taking a long time. High taxes, but a border fort makes spying unlikely. So let's send Ferdinand off. And what is he? He's down to 1 star now because he got odd number of toes. So let's see. We need to send an army that will encourage the enemy to take the fight. I'd rather not lose a bunch of my knights in this battle. And he's an okay lord too, so we'll take him out. Yeah, that's fine. So what else? This is 462, Man of Honor and Greed. It's a bunch of siege things. Actually, I want to keep the trebuchet out. You know, I'm torn because I wouldn't mind losing all these troops, but part of me, of course, wants to get the province, so I'm not used to doing these sort of throwaway attacks. Alright, but we're down a little bit in terms of income, so maybe it makes sense to hold off for a year. We're going to get a couple of ships next turn, and we can use them to increase funds a bit. Looks like Constantinople has fallen to the Turks. Let's get up to Kiev and see what's going on there. Yeah. Wow, okay, so 3 assassinations in 1 year. Okay, we outnumber them technically, so let's just go for it. And the goal here is to get the prince killed, and you know, I guess do damage to the enemy too. That'd be kind of nice. They get so many feudal knights that I would hope that they could take out my prince and actually end it. But also, we've got a lot of mercenaries here that we can't retrain and that are costing some upkeep. So it's also not a bad thing to get rid of them. And then we can kind of roll into Portugal with a cheaper army that we can, you know, maintain more efficiently. All right, sure, we'll attack during the fine weather. This bombard is not really going to see much action, I'm sure. This mortar is probably not. It's a very tiny model. I'm kind of curious because I never build these myself. The idea with this weapon is that it goes over the castle walls and lands down inside. So it's got a very high firing arc, but I think not great range. But it's more designed to hit troops. You know, on the inside of a castle. All right, all these guys are firing at will, and we'll just group everybody else. And we should probably do something different. Let's, where's my group formation? Here we go. Let's do 3-line attack. Yeah. Oh, okay. This moves the whole army. All right, so back up here. Alright, so now the archers are out front, and we've got, you know, some urban militia, some Vikings, chivalric men-at-arms, some Saracen infantry, Italian infantry, and woodsmen, as well as a bunch of crossbows, pavese, crossbows, arbalesters, and so on. So it's okay, you know, like it's not the worst army ever, but we're sending them against, you know, a bunch of feudal knights. Looks like they're going for a hill. So what I want to do is, you know, I can't just send my prince in and assume that he's going to die. They don't have any ranged stuff either, so this does make it harder. So let's turn. What we want to avoid is the prince just routing off the field. We want him to get surrounded, and preferably by, you know, cavalry. There's a bunch of knights left, but I wouldn't mind taking out, like, one of these units. So let's get him up here so he's feeling kind of comfortable with his men behind him. Alright, send them in there. And now it's going to be a little physically harder for him to rout, too. And we can maybe get some friendly fire. winning over here, so we took out a unit of feudal knights. All right, he's not really even in the fight. So I'm worried if the rest of the guys around him rout, he's going to rout, and then they'll never catch him. Let's send these troops up to shore up, like, the prince's morale. Alright, Saracen infantry, why don't you guys turn and attack that? Right, mounted sergeants are actually running away. Alright, let's attack the chivalric sergeants. I mean, we're kind of in the middle of that anyway. Our Saracens are breaking. Ferdinand is out there carrying the day in the center. He's completely alone and surrounded, so hopefully he'll get cut down here. Try to get some friendly fire before our crossbows rout. Right, let's go up and support him just to keep him, you know, theoretically in the melee. Chivalric sergeants and... okay, the feudal knights are kind of keeping their distance. Our Saracens came back. And our Italian infantry. Still at 4 valor. There's only 2 feudal knights here in this unit. Our Italians, yeah, let's hit the feudal knights. We've got enough units that theoretically they could kill my prince. But I hope they do it fast, because if my entire army routs, he's probably going to rout too.
The general of your army has
there we go.
been
Nice.
slaughtered by the perfidious foe.
All right, now, you know, we'd like to kill as many of the enemy, especially the feudal knights, as possible. Just to make this easier in a year or two when we come back. Could make some use of the village. You know, if this was a serious battle that I was trying to win, you know, you can use these buildings, and you could easily see how you could plug some of these holes around here and make a little fortified area for your men. So maybe we'll try to do that a little bit at this point. But these guys are just not going to hold very long anyway. 14 feudal knights in this unit and 2 in the other. I mean, we killed quite a lot of them. And the Italian infantry, I am impressed by how much they are rallying. These are urbans, And then 100 chivalric sergeants over there. Here comes some urban militia. Alright, let's send the Vikings after him. They've got good morale compared to some other units, but they've already routed a couple of times. See if the Saracens can hold for a little bit. We've still got our crew. We're all on fire at will. So if units get themselves over here, we might be able to fire at them. Let's see. That was actually a lot closer than it should have been. All right. Oh, nope. Just about to send them to attack there, but they couldn't take it. There goes all of the infantry troops. So now it's just the crew. They're probably going to rout here in a second. And we're going to get the message here. Do we really have to watch all of them rout? I thought... Okay, yeah, they can't rally now. You've got to get to a point where it's no longer possible to rally your troops before you can just... end of the battle. Okay, so ransom, no thanks. Those are all mercenaries. I'm not paying for their ransom. French are the strongest. Okay, so their king is up in Flanders. Yeah. Complete the metalsmith in Lyon. That's good. And the Russians, as I feared, own Kiev. I think they actually start with it, so I shouldn't be that surprised. Let's see, we've got princesses on missions here, but it's not telling me where they're going. And then they've got this guy who's probably some famous... character, Orek Shubin. Never heard of him. But he's a 3 Valor Bishop. And this is like the, this is the higher level, because I think, yeah, Orthodox priests are the equivalent, roughly speaking, of Catholic bishops. And then Catholic cardinals are kind of like the Orthodox bishops. Anyway, so Kiev is looking pretty strong. Let's see. We've got about a decade or so left with this princess. Just keep her moving around the countryside. Okay, we failed to take Portugal, but we succeeded in killing our heir and now making Prince Pedro the 5-star, 2-dread, great warrior who is also irritable, the heir to the throne. So now that we've got that, we don't have any emissaries. So let's train one in Aragon, and let's get a princess somewhere if possible. We're not doing a very good job of protecting our generals, unfortunately. Because there are assassins running loose, but there's not much we can do. I could build border forts, but if our spies aren't going to catch him, border fort is more efficient. The downside, of course, is that it makes it impossible for your own agents who are in that province to get experience. Okay, but now I think we want to move on this for real. So let's send, I guess we could send Sancho over. He's a 4-star. We've got these older brothers. Yeah, Sancho is 49, Fernando's 41. These are all the younger brothers. But Pedro and Enrique are the sons of the current king, Alfonso V. Enrique is quite good. I mean, he's a 6-star general. Natural leader. So that's really good. Secret blackmailer. It is not going to matter. Well, okay, it will matter if, eventually. But he doesn't have great stats. I mean, Pedro's got the same acumen as he does. And Pedro also has a couple points of dread. So I think that'll be more useful. What we want to do now is we'll take you, all you guys, feudal knights. And I don't think we're liable to be hit in Cordoba. We need to leave some kind of plausible forces there. So let's move the chivalric knights down. And I might just disband this guy. He's got the good runner trait. So it's unfortunate, but, you know, if we were to retrain him, it wouldn't do us any favors, because we'd have a unit with very low morale. Let's send these chivalric men-at-arms north to Leon to be retrained. In Cordoba, I guess we can build, you know, some more feudal sergeants. And then let's get some handgunners, and let's get some militia sergeants. You know, just have a few things coming down the pike. Send these mercenaries too, and that's a full stack with, you know, decent force. We got the trebuchet in there. Let's send all of these. And let's actually send Enrique. Or, no, we've got a trebuchet that we built. So yeah, we'll send everybody but the king and this unit of feudal sergeants under Enrique down to Cordoba. All right, let's actually check the acumen on some of these guys. We may have a good governor of Leon here. Yeah, we'll send you over. Let's go for some feudals, some archers. Okay, one more year for that crusade. And maybe we'll hit Grenada. We'll see. Yeah. Alright, so we killed one assassin. There's at least two others at large. Okay, so this is going to be another battle for Portugal. This one we want to win. We've got, let's see, Garc, Fernando, and Sancho. These guys are all fine. They're brothers of the king. So I think we just want to rearrange this slightly. And we'll be pretty much good to go here. Yeah, let's just do that. So a couple of chivalric sergeants, a couple of urban militia, and feudal knights. I'm kind of surprised they're standing and fighting, actually. Okay, yeah, we don't need the mangonel. We don't really need the siege equipment. Actually, I probably should have just... Let's swap that out. Yeah, so the next tier up is going to give us a couple more archers. And actually, that's kind of fine. We've got a Mulgavars here on the right. A bunch of crossbows backing them up. A bunch of feudal sergeants for our line with some chivalric men-at-arms and sergeants on the right wing. Jeanettes on the right, and a bunch of knights in the back. So that's all pretty good. We'll just march forward in a pretty standard formation. Okay, there is going to be this unfortunate wooded hill. We'll see how they handle that. Okay, they're over on that hill, I would imagine. There could be some in the trees here, but usually the AI doesn't split its forces up that much. Okay, let's kind of turn a little. Everybody halt. We're in firing range for a bunch of our missiles. Hopefully we'll pull them down the hill. Here come the feudal knights. That's the only cav. They don't have anything ranged. send our generals in.
The general is dead. Unfortunately slain before the pox could kill him.
Okay, if we could catch all of these guys, that would be awesome. We would not have to siege. So let's shoot at him and see if we can do that. One feudal knight. It might be a bribery situation, where literally that one guy gets back to the castle. Let's see, my Jeannettes are chasing routers over here. I don't think we can make it. Let's try it though. Let's send the Jeannettes after him. But I think he's going to get away. Oh wait, did he? Yeah, he did. So frustrating. Alright. Yep, it's under siege. And we won another battle here. Very good. Okay, just execute the ringleaders. We're going to avoid dread. Although I probably should have gone for more dread, but it doesn't matter. Okay, he's a survivor. Awesome. One of my favorite traits, having survived an assassination attempt by killing the assassin with a cooking spit. He's very keen to practice combat with a wide variety of weapons and kitchen implements to the detriment of his other duties. +1 valor, -1 acumen. Alright, it's a cool trait. Let's take a look at Don Enrique. Is this the guy? This is the guy. Oh, great. Okay, I thought Don was like a title, like it meant that, like he was a lord. But I guess not. Yep, it's literally one feudal knight. He's a good runner. We could try to assassinate him. We could try spies. See, we've got a 1-star assassin up here. It's a 50-50 shot. Let's do it. We could also try it with this guy who's 2 stars. So let's send them both. These border forts should be working in our favor at this point. Let's use one of our spies down there to start getting the population happy. And yeah, I guess we'll leave taxes normal. Okay, we've got our emissary, and now we can look around for princesses. Princesses for Pedro, right? Yeah, it's Pedro. Okay, well, there's not too many around here. Khazar, they're besieging a rebel settlement with a bunch of Mongol units. So maybe a Mongol civil war. Okay, she can go over to Kiev again, because there were princesses over there last I looked. But otherwise, I'm not seeing any. Their princesses are avoiding this part of the map. And I'm a little worried about this guy getting assassinated, but we may as well send him around. Let's go to, like, Flanders and... Let's see, we'll take one of you guys. Maybe we'll send you up to Venice. Usually princesses congregate in those very highly trafficked port regions. Okay, so we've got Portugal under our thumb. Now the nice thing about this is it's got salt, or salt resources. We can build mines. It's got wax and olive oil, and both of those are pretty rare around here. In fact, wax might only be found in the Baltic or in the north. Otherwise, olive oil is found, I think, like Sicily, Naples, and maybe a couple of other places. But this is pretty rare too. So that means we're going to be trading all of those things with all the places that have ports in the area. So Portugal is a good province to get. They've already got some improvements. Let's see if anything survives once we take it over. And like, I don't know, maybe bribery would be better. If we get the assassination here, then we'll just get the castle because there's no one in it anymore, I think. So we'll see. Okay. All right, we've got our crusade. I'm just curious what it would cost. Okay, we could theoretically crusade Constantinople. Greece, who holds Greece? Turks, all right. We'd crusade all through Russia if we wanted to go up there. So, something to keep in mind. You know, it's worth having a crusade just lying around. I think I'm going to hold on to it for now. I don't think we need it against the Aragonese, but we'll know. Like, if they hit Cordoba hard, we can just immediately crusade back at it. I don't think we're going to need it. All right, it worked. So our assassin is now rank 3. The task has been successfully completed. All right, we've got another assassin in Leon. And, all right, the English hold Provence. Good for them. And the King of Aragon died a little earlier than usual, so we timed this pretty well, actually. Because I think he was only 53 or so. Although your leader is dead, his heir lives. So this will be now King Pedro. Great. Trouble for the Russians in Khazar. And we are the richest. Wow. Not even that wealthy. Under 6,000 in the bank. We've got chivalric men-at-arms in Sicily available now, and we've got a port in Cordoba. That's going to be great. But now Prince Enrique is a blackmailer. Mask off. His brother becomes king, and he doesn't want anything to do with it, so -3 loyalty. We'll have to look, because our old king had almost max influence. Our new king is probably going to be starting at 4 or 5. All right, Lord Enriquez, not to be confused with Prince Enrique, is a great builder. And he's in Sicily. Fine. All right, let's take a look now. Loyalty looks great. Public order looks great. We take over Portugal. I don't think we damaged anything. That is awesome. All right, so let's send our 3-star assassin back to Leon. This spy is not doing us any good here. Now, we're going to want to strip out the garrison here at some point, because we want to make sure, you know, we're defending where we need to defend. A lot of these troops are not necessary here. It doesn't border anything. But once we get a navy over here, so let's do that. We've got another ship in Sicily now. And yeah, I think it makes sense. We're winning a lot of our engagements here. Let's move the 1-star guy right up to Portugal. And I guess we want to do this. We want to maintain the coastline as a defense. So let's do another ship in Castile. I don't think we need the troops just yet. All right, what's this? Right, Jeanette's. He's going to Leon. And this is our new king. So this is Pedro IV. Still unmarried, but yeah, 5 influence, 5 stars, great warrior, irritable. And let's see, do we have any foreign princesses around? There's a Russian princess. She's 32. She looks like she's on a mission. But that might not matter. Let's get our emissary. Okay, he's in Toulouse. Well, let's just try this marriage request. Sooner we get him married, the better. He's pretty young. He's 24, so he's got, you know, about 10 years before you start to get worried about inheritance or succession problems. But loyalty's looking okay. Now, I may want to swap out a good general in the north, because I don't think I want Pedro up on that front. It's a little scary. Let's bring him to Cordoba. And, okay, Prince Enrique is looking fine, actually. Loyalty's good. He's a blackmailer, but some of that is countered by the fact that he is a natural leader. Yeah, all these guys look okay. So I'll send him by ship right up to Aragon immediately. And maybe we can even help out the English a little bit with a spy here, since the spies are not doing much of consequence. We could relieve the English, or the French siege of the English citadel, but I don't think I want to open up war with the French. I may be stronger than them in terms of province numbers. Okay, so Portugal, what can we do about this? We can improve the public order with the church. I think that's probably a pretty reasonable investment, but let's do a little bit of money. We've already got the trading post and the port and the shipbuilding facility, so this is actually great. Let's build a caravel here. we'll work on units out of here too, get some good ranged options. But let's go for a ship after that, and maybe we'll just then kind of take our time, figure out what to do. All right, good. We've got another assassin down. Good. All right. Okay, so we don't need to go after that princess anymore. This guy's crack-brained. Okay, well, we're going to be taking over leadership here with Prince Enrique. So, let's see. Man of principle, crack-brained. Now, I've got a little bit of trepidation about doing this because I had the impression that bad traits rise to the top. Like, if you put a general in charge of a stack where one of the units in a stack has a bad trait, the general might get the next level of that trait instead of the individual who started with it. Okay, we've got maybe a little bit of progress here. 103 loyalty. Oh, only 1 year. Okay, we don't have a lot of time then. Of Cyprus. Okay, but I think our assassin has been doing good work here. Let's move him over. Yeah, he's got 1 star. I feel like we ought to use him. Let's move him to Valencia. We'll have a counter spy in Aragon. We probably need some spies or something. Oh, we got a 3 star. Is he a? Are you a dude? He must be a hero or something. Don Ramiro Sanchez. I'm not sure who this guy is, but I mean a 3-star assassin. Unless I worked him up. You know, maybe I did. Let's move him to Cordoba because we might see some action there. We need to keep an eye out for Duke, a suitable leader of this place. We need someone with good acumen. Okay, maybe this guy. 4 quills. This guy's very honest and hard sums. This could improve over time, but yeah, let's do this. Let's give him Duke of Cordoba. Alright, most advanced. French planning to attack the English year after next. Lord Enrique, secret perversion. Lord Mendez, blackmailer. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Is he the guy we just gave the title to? No, this guy's really rough, though. Even with these titles, +2. Okay, this archbishop doesn't give anything. It gives a lot of acumen. Alright, let's look for a princess. She's 25. Yep, let's marry her to him. And that'll increase it by 2. This guy's influence should be getting better. And I mean, you know, we can do that as well, but we may need to move these guys around. Alright, so we're doing a bit of retraining. Alright, so we're looking at also a kind of reasonable army in Navarre. Portugal gives 1 acumen and 1 loyalty. Oh my gosh, okay, this guy looks bad. These are the former princes. So what's confusing is you see the crown on the strat map model, but that's no longer accurate. These guys are not princes anymore. Now, they do have royal blood, but I think the crown is really only supposed to show princes. And the reason we can, I think that is, if we do this, it disappears. Like if we split them out. So this is just the game just kind of remembering when it shouldn't be. But let's do that. Don Gark, okay, he's alright. I think I might make this guy governor of Portugal because builder plus 10 happiness, plus 1 dread. He doesn't have a lot of dread. He's got 2. And he's got enough acumen to make him reasonable. So let's see. 255. Loyalty is 160. Let's see what happens. 172 and 346. I think that was a good move. But yeah, Dongark can stay right there. Maybe I got to disband some of these mercs. These Vikings, they're free. It's one guy, and he's got no support costs. Well, I'm going to get rid of him anyway because it's misleading to me. Woodsman, probably not worth keeping. The Mortar Crew I'll keep. The Pavese Arbalesters I'll keep. Trebuchet I'll keep. Let's get rid of the Saracens. They're down to a 3rd strength. And this and that, yeah, it's just 33 men. Okay. And in fact, these guys are disloyal. We'll just disband them. Disband you. Try to keep things a little tidier than I normally do. Okay. You know, maybe at some point we get this guy retrained because he's got some good traits. You know, with a little bit more loyalty, he could be pretty useful. All right, checking ships. We do have 3 here in the Straits of Gibraltar. So let's move one of them. They're all caravels. I guess I'll move the weaker one up here. But look how far we can go. We can do this and that because we're using this as another. We can go 2 regions. This looks like we can go like 5 or something, but it's because the Atlantic borders all of these. So we could get to the English Channel this turn. Now, I'm not going to do that right now, but you know, we're kind of getting there. So let's do another ship. This is more about getting like options for us for if we need it. We need replacements because we're going to have some storms that disrupt trade and things like that. Okay, they're going for Aquitaine. French excommunicated. So there we go. We've got our crusade now, which could be very useful. Okay, we lost our Moroccan spy, and we've got Ibn Battuta, well-traveled judge. The renowned judge Ibn Battuta has returned from another of his journeys to the Indies and Cathay. The tales he writes of his voyages to these far countries are remarkable, but even more remarkable are the beautiful trade goods that he brings also. Truly, travel broadens more than the mind, and now there are new goods for trade in Khazar and the Crimea. All right, so that's probably good for Russia or the Turks. Okay, peace with the Almohads? I mean, maybe. Let's say yeah for now. It doesn't hurt me to do that. And we get our princess over to Mendez. Let's get the emissary. Okay, so he's not actually doing a marriage request anymore, which is fine. Let's check out Moldavia. Or actually, I'm pretty sure that I know that that is Polish, or it was. So let's go Lithuania and get up into the Baltic just to see what that looks like. Okay, Aquitaine. Low taxes, 97% loyalty, so there could be a rebellion there. Okay, Provence is looking okay. So here's what I want to do. I think I want to get a bishop or a cardinal or something, and we'll go and examine the northern parts here to see what kind of English presence there is. Let's see, we don't need anyone in Tunisia or Algeria anymore, so we'll go to Normandy with you. We'll go to Flanders with you, and you can go to Friesland. We'll see if the English have anything up there, or if it's all French. If it's all French, you know, I may not bother with a crusade, but you know, if there's some, if it looks like the English are not on the verge of elimination, it might be worth trying to grab Toulouse here. papacy is the strongest, and they've got Venice. All right, we've got a daughter, and let's see. That's it. So he needs to start having some sons. All right, we'll get you retrained. Okay, all French. Maybe I should do it anyway. It's interesting, too, because, you know, we do this. Okay, so Friesland is actually rebel. This looks... okay, English. Shame. All right. Yeah, let's wait another turn. We'll see what our cardinals have to report about the center. You know, I kind of don't think this is the only English province in the area. We could crusade to Genoa, though. That might be kind of cool. Oh, Corsica. All right, let's get another emissary. And I'm kind of feeling the lack of a port here in Aragon, but we'll just eat it for now, because if we had it, we could go right over here, but as it is, we'll have to drop down to Valencia, so it'd take us 2 years to get over there. But if we could bribe this, it would save me a bit of trouble, right? There's just 5 chivalric guys. And honestly, this guy's got good acumen, good dread. We could put him in charge of Corsica, get a little garrison. And a bunch of Vikings for sale. And a bunch of Mamluk handgunners. This is an interesting unit. I really like that they just use this stick for the prop for the handgun. It's not one that I have a lot of experience with. So they've produced... it says they produce better gunpowder. And their handguns are also skillfully made. Their handgunners have greater discipline than their Christian counterparts, although they must still deal with the handgun's slow rate of fire and low accuracy. So, very good versus armor, can't fire in rain. Obviously, they cause fear, like all of them do. So, very good versus armor. It doesn't give us anything else about their stats. So, let's see what my handgunners have to say, because we can train them over here in Cordoba. Very good versus armor, can't fire in rain. Now, these guys are actually kind of like swordsmen on the side. Heavily armored, good defense. So I wonder if that's the idea. The Mamluk handgunners are more just about handgunning. I'm noticing, too, that these guys have slow rate of fire and short range. Maybe the Mamluk handgunners don't suffer from that. Let's try them. Let's get some Vikings. Let's get a couple of troops here. Okay, loyalty's pretty bad, but we'll put them under the command of this lord for now, and then we can send them over with, like, you know, some general at some point. Let's try for a feudal sergeant who's not terribly disloyal. Yeah, and we can get caravels here again, so, I keep having more ships than I thought I had available. All right, let's actually go up to the English Channel. The Swiss. Oh, check that out. Oh, it's a shame that the army's not there anymore, but the Swiss, it looks like they came down from Burgundy to hit Toulouse. That is awesome. Okay. An Egyptian alliance. They are at war with the Turks. I'm going to say no. The Egyptians might be doing pretty well in glorious achievement points. So let's say no. Poland. Nah. And honorable warrior for Lord Enrique. That's good. Okay, so the Swiss tried to attack. So there's a rebel army here. This looks like English again. Billman and Howard Mowbray. You can tell by the names, right? So the English had Ile-de-France and then had a civil war, it looks like. Oh, wow, yeah. So they're not doing so hot. Let's check out the French king. He's 35. And they're still excommunicated, so the Pope, if the Pope doesn't die soon, this excommunication could last for another, maybe 20 years. So in other words, I've got some time. Now, strategically, the better province for me to crusade to would be Aquitaine. I think it's probably more lucrative. It's got wine, which I think is a better trade good than silk in terms of getting it around the map. Fewer people have it. And taking it strategically would, completely surround Navarre. So that means I would still have just a two-front border. But Toulouse is the one I want for the chivalric knight bonus. And it's also a nice Mediterranean port to have. And taking it, it would open up a third border. But I could take Aquitaine later. All right, how am I doing with the Swiss? I'm not allied with them. So I think I want to send someone. Actually, let's go to, is Swabia Swiss? It is. We should try to check this out. Let's bring you down here. You go into Burgundy. I want to find the Swiss king if I can. And maybe we can hope for a little rebellion too. Let's get my bishop up to join the scouts. Okay, 4. You're pretty loyal. I'll keep you here with the Duke of Portugal, and let's see if we can leave him safely behind. Yeah, no. So we're going to need some more guys here. Let's do you. It's probably got to be more than that. Oh, actually, that's actually quite good. Okay, yeah. Let's get him over here to, let's get him up to Leon, actually. Maybe we can send them on crusade. Because I think what we're going to be able to do is use our ports. So instead of going through our territory, we may be moving from Leon, like, directly to Aquitaine if we crusade to Toulouse. And that would actually be kind of a nice thing. But in the meantime, let's build up a few troops. Okay, Turkish are in Georgia. Okay, that's kind of good, again, to balance against the Russians. The Golden Horde is wiped out. And Catherine of Siena. I always like this art. From the age of 6, Catherine of Siena saw guardian angels protecting people. She has continued to have visions of our Lord, Mary, and the saints ever since. Few match her piety, self-instructed theology, and support for the Pope, and she is an inspiration to many in the true church, her support granting influence to the Pope. And the D1, this is just sort of art you've seen before, but this is the D1 of Shams. Al-Din Muhammad, also called Hafiz Shirazi, is one of the greatest poetry works of the age, a collection of ghazal, or poems in a lyrical style. Hafiz is a title given to a Muslim who has memorized the Quran, and his education clearly shines through his work. Many who have not already done so convert to Islam in Islamic provinces, while Islamic zeal is reduced. Alright, so poetry always hurts zeal, unfortunately, but this does a little bit of a good thing as well. I think having zeal in Islamic provinces, there's no downside. None whatsoever, because there's not going to be an inquisition. So it's just good for your jihads, right? There's no downside to it. Okay, Holy Roman Emperor wants an alliance. I don't think there's much advantage to be had from that. If it was the Swiss, I would say yes. And so let's try this now. Because there is the King Otto I of Switzerland. I love that they've expanded into Burgundy and look pretty strong there. Just a really cool bodyguard unit, these Swiss armored pikemen. And then they've got a few other pike-specific units. So yeah, let's try that. You're still excommunicated. Okay, good. So they've got pikes. They've got some longbowmen, too. They must have bribed them, or maybe there was a rebellion that joined the French. Okay, we're still doing some training. And who's going to go on this crusade, like, as the general? I guess Prince Enrique would basically lead it. He's going to be heading right across the Pyrenees. But if we send the crusade now, the question is going to be, you know, what direction is it going to take? All right, we can hit Toulouse. It looks like the French, you know, they do have a bit of a presence. They don't have many ships. There's one right off the Gulf of Lions, or yeah, Gulf of Lions. It's Lyon, right? The city or the port. So it's a little weird to see it Lions here, but maybe that's what it means. I don't know. Let's drop this down. 500 florins. All right. So where can we go? Yeah, right to Aquitaine. We could actually... Oh, we could go up to Normandy? I might want to do that. It's rare that you get the option to go so far out of the way. But then again, our forces are not terribly strong, and I'm worried the French counterattack there could be enough to hurt us. What I'd like to do theoretically is you hit Normandy, and then you go down to Anjou, and then, you know, the king vacates the province, and you basically cause a lot of destruction when that happens, and you know, set him back a bit, maybe cause a civil war. The French are not as strong as they ought to be. They should have Ile-de-France back. They should have made a move for Friesland, but they're not, and they're not pushing the English any farther either, which is I'm relieved to see. So we're going to send... Oh, that's right. This guy's really bad. And we didn't get any Knights of Santiago. Okay, we may have to send... Do we dare send the king? That's pretty stupid. It's pretty stupid, but he is pretty good. Duke of Castile, and you're the Lord of Cordoba. Okay, so we'll take the king, the feudal knights, the trebuchet, these guys. We're going to leave some of the lighter troops. And we're now in a peaceful situation with the Almohads. So if we send all of these guys up to Normandy... Yep, you're going to join. I guess you guys can come too. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, this is kind of helpful because we're not going to lose... Yeah, you guys just jump right into Crusade. I don't think they can rebel while they're on Crusade. We'll send them up, and that way the king being with them is going to keep them happy too, or at least loyal. All right, any good mercs I can get? Because I could send these guys to Normandy immediately also. Okay, the Italians are at it again in Corsica. I missed my chance. That's all right. We're doing one thing at a time. I could send chivalrics. Let's do that. But all you guys are going to just maintain here. And, ooh, we could get some nice buffed up halberdiers. Let's do that. I think that's pretty good. Basically all I want to do. So now I want to start moving west. Or east, rather. Get into the central and eastern Mediterranean. All right, they're going to retreat out of Normandy. It's a siege, so we don't take it, but we lose this battle in the Gulf of Lions, unfortunately. All right, an assassin working for the papacy, but we got him. And the Swiss agree to an alliance. Beautiful. And we got a son for the king. Awesome. Prince Felipe. So he is going to come of age at some point now. All right, down to Anjou. And hopefully they just vacate, right? Let's see. I think I've moved my agents where I want them. You can come back over to maybe Lorraine. We'll see what that's like. I'll keep him in Burgundy for now. And we're just building stuff. I don't think the French are going to want to hit me in Navarre, although I could be wrong about that. We'll get some reinforcements here. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Kind of a mix of, you know, some ranged line units and cav. This is looking rather light, but we're shoring it up bit by bit. So let's get another one of you, another one of you. And let's get some chivalric knights. Let's see what our income is. Okay, 1969, not bad at all. All right, this, now that the Almohads have taken Grenada, this is maybe a little bit risky. Go for a couple of feudal sergeants, and yeah, let's go for, like, I kind of don't need ships, right? I've got less than 100 years left in the game, so chasing a lot of income, it doesn't seem super useful, and trade is going to be disrupted, you know. I don't know. This is a pretty easy build, especially where I've got so much cash. A castle. Yeah, you know, on the off chance we're going to get a glorious achievement that requires Cordoba to be well built, you know, and I don't know that we will. It might be useful to have that. I think Sicily's pretty good. Okay, we've got an assassin killed in Lithuania, and I didn't even get to see what they've got there. Okay, so the French take back Normandy, and they withdraw out of Anjou, and we get it completely. That's exactly what I was hoping for. We've damaged one facility and pillaged 300. All right, another sun. Great. So, we have not caused a civil war yet. But Anjou is now, I mean, we could plunder all of this. Now, in the interest of being sporting, I'm not going to right now. I don't think we need to. But, like, you could really set them back to the Stone Age, right? Like, by destroying all of this stuff. I don't need the money. And I don't want to start seeing a bunch of peasants and low-tier spearmen. I kind of like the fact that they've got some infrastructure. So I'll leave that behind. You know, maybe another faction can make use of it. Maybe the Burgundians or the Swiss, because they are at war with the French. You know, maybe they can hit it. Maybe the English will eventually get some use out of this. So let's come down into Toulouse, and let's see if our king is gonna do it. Let's set him in the stack too. Everyone's looking happy, fairly loyal as well. All right, and I would love for this just to rebel, but we should try to address our problem here with the fleets. So we'll move him back, and he's eventually going to get to the Gulf of Lions. I guess we could set him there, but let's just do this. This is a 2-star caravel. The guys nearby are not so good. Although you could make it right now. Let's do that. That fills in the gap. We're going to get another ship there anyway pretty soon. Okay, so the English, it looks like they have Wales and Northumbria. All right, here come our allies, the Swiss. And the French just retreat. Nice. Worked out great. See, that's kind of why I wanted that alliance. Alliances, you can say in this game are really not that useful, and most of the time that is true. The alliance system is very limited, but one of the great benefits that it has is that if you and your ally attack at the same time, or yeah, I guess it would have to be an attack, then both of them, show up on the field. Your ally's army will show up on the field with your army, and together you're attacking, some defenders. Now, you would think that would be vanishingly rare, but in my experience, it happens quite a lot. Like, it's, maybe it's 50-50, but the AI kind of knows what you're doing, right? So you make your moves, and then the AI makes its moves. And I think they tweaked it from Shogun 1 so that it was not so obvious that the AI was just reacting to whatever you did. But basically, you get to go first, right? And the AI will oftentimes follow up an assault to sort of join you if you're an ally of theirs. So it is worth doing. All right, we've not resolved the siege here yet, but it's just 1 year. So maybe I don't even need to send my reinforcements here. No one took back Anjou. Let's go ahead and get taxes to very low so we can avoid a French rebellion here. They're probably going to take it back. They may try to move these troops in. Let's take a look at the points. So we're looking at basically 3 full bars worth of points. And the Russians are more than that. So it might be good for us to hit Aquitaine as well. All right, why can we not move through here? Is there a French... Yeah, there's a French ship right here. All right. I could hit this bark. It's got a defense of 2. I've got an attack of 3, right? Theoretically, this should work, but it probably won't. All right, so the spearmen, I built them basically to leave them behind here. So we're going to send everything in with the hope that they just withdraw. I don't necessarily want to fight a battle here. Okay, both of you guys are pretty loyal. I think I do want the archers. Let's take you and you. Okay. What else? Let's not neglect too much here. We've got the money, we can spend it. All right, 16 years. Yeah, we got 4,000. Castile, this was kind of going to become... All right, let's think about this, though. Before I spend like a quarter of my income. Castile is a religious province. We can build inquisitors here right now. We can't build grand inquisitors until we go up to the citadel level. I don't think it's necessarily worth it, especially since my points rivals are probably not going to be Catholic factions. So the inquisitors won't work against like the Russians, for example. Okay, so maybe Castile, I just cool my jets because I've got the chivalric sergeants, I've got feudal knights, I've got genettes. Aragon is the place where I can make chivalric knights currently. And it's got a citadel, it's pretty well fitted. So maybe I don't really need to worry too much about this. I was going to go for a port. Let's do that for ease of movement. Let's do a port at Navarre, same thing. Yeah, Cordoba is where I want to improve just to get sort of a reasonable citadel. And Valencia, again, is looking quite good. If I'm going to build up to chivalric knights anywhere else, it's going to be Toulouse. Now, that said, it's like there's another unit I could build, and I think it was like Lancers. Yeah, Master Armorer and Master Spearmaker. So here's your Spearmaker's Guild. Here's the Master Spearmaker. And I've got them... I need... Okay, Master Armorer. Does that require the fortress? like, I don't think this has anything to do with it, so it probably does require a fortress. All right, Master Spearmaker, yeah, fortress, let's do it. We're going to move toward Lancers, because that's I gather, a unique unit that I can build. Okay, we're invading Aquitaine. They're actually going to fight for it. I don't know if I actually want to fight this, though. Like, it's 6 stars versus 6 stars. I know this is Prince Enrique, and he's a good general. And withdrawing can get bad traits. But the point of that attack into Aquitaine was more to pin the army than anything else. It wasn't really to take it, to fight a big battle here. We could probably win it, but this episode's already gone on very long. Alright, I'm going to call off the attack. Ugh. Siege in Toulouse is about to fall. You know, I'm going to say no. Prince Enrique, we may want him to marry one of our princesses eventually, even though that will be hopefully a distant relative. Where is he? Did he get any bad traits? No, he didn't. Alright, good. So now is when we're going to attack, and hopefully they won't stick around. We want to throw everything at this again. Including more chivalric knights. Yeah, they can't hit us anywhere here because they haven't even bothered to take Anjou back. It's completely empty, guys. Alright, you're going to move in. You're going to move in. I think that's everything I can do. Except we can get some mercs. Let's get some mounted sergeants. Oh, we can't send them over there because of the stupid French fleet. Alright. It's very frustrating when you have a unit that absolutely should beat another one, and it doesn't. Alright, you go right over here to address this annoyance. We've got more ships coming. Alright, any more mercenaries? Yes. Oh, a lot. Okay, good. So pikemen, Italian infantry, halberdiers. Let's get trebuchets, mounted crossbowmen. Sure. All right, good. That pushes them out of Aquitaine, and we can, take this later. Maybe we'll just disband all those mercenaries we just hired. Because I think we could have won that battle, but again, we would have taken some losses, right? Here we're going to have a little more of an even field. We'll be fighting on the defensive. And we took Toulouse. We destroyed 8 facilities and damaged 3. We plundered a lot, so that's good. Famously brave, Prince Enrique. Good for you. +1 valor, +1 morale. Awesome. And nice. We've completed a goal with homelands. Scored 20 points for that. Let's take a look at where we are. And we're now in 2nd place behind the Russians, who are just conquering all over the place. So late era, it's tough playing a Western faction when you've got the Russians up in the east with a free hand, just doing whatever they want over there. So we're going to have to come up with a solution for that. But this is a good point to end the episode, I think. We ended up with Anjou just accidentally. I guess it's fine. We'll maybe move some units in here to just nominally hold it. I think that'll be okay. And all these troops are probably going to be sufficient to hold Aquitaine versus a counterattack from Brittany if one comes. But yeah, now I'm looking at holding both of these. We're going to work up Toulouse to the point where we can get chivalric knights here. It's going to take a million years, but it's got a little bit of infrastructure already, at least. We've got the armorer, we've got a church, you know, we got some good stuff. But we're going to have to think about how to approach the rest of the campaign here. We've got a good goal accomplished, and the long run in about, 75 years or so is this. How to deal with this. Either taking some territory from them, bribing some rebels to act on our behalf. Who knows? We'll have to get our agents there and see what can be done so we come out as the most glorious faction in Europe. So, hope you enjoyed the episode. Take care until the next one.